NBS Frontline. Following the initial standoff with police, the National Unity Platform finally inaugurated its party headquarters at Makerere Kavule in an event marked by unexpected attendance of heavyweight players from the opposition. Notably, the FDC Katonga faction, led by former President Dr. Kizza Besigye, made a surprising show in support of the three-year-old party.
We come here today to congratulate you, sir.
But behind the camaraderie from a faction whose own house is falling apart are the deeper political machinations at play. Is this the strategy to disrupt the ruling NRM stronghold on power?
God is on the side of right, that by the grace of God and our action, we shall regain our country. We must raise our faith.
Don't care about the politics of your country. You is a fool. Dash Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Or is this collaboration part of the two opposition parties' efforts to strongly prepare for a political showdown in their pursuit for power? With the 2026 general elections on the horizon, the burning question is, what does the future hold for the opposition political parties? This is The Frontline. NBS Frontline.
A very good evening and welcome to this edition of The Frontline on NBS TV. My name is Charles Mwangushampagi. After early bitter exchanges, largely between the Katonga faction of the Forum for Democratic Change, or leaders there, and the National Unity Platform, we have recently seen some kind of causing up. What is happening after especially the Forum for Democratic Change experienced a major split between the faction that sits at the party headquarters in Najanankombe and the one that sits at the People's Government headquarters on Katonga Road. The National Unity Platform recently unveiled brand new offices in Makerere Kavule, and we have also seen the former FDC leader and former presidential candidate, Dr. Kizza Besigye, gracing that occasion and making comments. What exactly is afoot? We have a panel tonight that is going to tear into that and explain to us what we see as we count down towards 2026. Let me introduce the panel that I have. A fairly large panel. A few members are still joining us. Yeah, we have a few more people joining us. Let me start from the extreme end. Spokesperson of the National Unity Platform, Member of Parliament for Nakawa Central. I have Nakawa West constituency, the Honorable Joel Senyonyi. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you, Jazz. To you, colleagues here, and the viewers.
There's a man who doesn't have a road accessing his area now in Kijura, in Kabarore district. He's called Edgar Tavaro.
We have no road. Nothing
you have no road.
There. It's,
yes?
Nothing motorable to talk about.
Yes.
And it is one of the most,
you need a boat.
most productive areas of Uganda, with no less than 10 tea factories.
Edgar Tavaro is a lawyer. Very nice to have you.
Joe Senyonyi was my workmate at some point in my life at the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. We were colleagues.
He was my first boss.
You are the boss at Uganda.
I gave him a job.
You gave him a job.
He had no choice.
He sat an interview and was one of the best performers.
You must be.
I'm wondering why he's not one of the best in Parliament.
You must be proud that you're
From the Uganda Media Center, from the Uganda Media Center, Chief Executive Officer, or Chief Executive Officer at the Uganda Media Center, and the frontliner of Fono. I don't know what has happened.
That's his title.
Eh? What is his title?
Like executive director.
Executive Director is the Chief Executive Officer of an organization.
No, his title is his data, so you can't...
Thank you. Executive Director, the Uganda Media Center.
Semuju arose by any other name. Smells as good. And I am the chief there anyway. Good evening to our viewers.
I have from the mountains of the moon, from the Alliance for National Transformation, a frontliner, the Honorable Winnie Kizza. Very nice to have you.
Thank you, Charles, and good evening, viewers.
You've been missing in action. You need to account for your absence.
Yes, I've been on national duty. Yeah, serving the world, serving the country, and I am proud that I do that job.
Okay. Where were you serving from?
I was serving from the mountains of the moon, from Kasese, and from Mozambique.
From Mozambique. Very nice to have you. I hope you'll be able to share with us some words in Portuguese.
Obrigado.
From Lusophone Africa.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Okay.
Thank you in Portuguese.
And I have the Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda. Ibrahim Semujunganda represents the people of Kira municipality in the 11th Parliament.
He's my MP.
He's your MP.
You said represent or misrepresent?
And he's a frontliner. Very nice to have you, Honorable Semujunganda.
Thank you, and good evening to viewers.
And I think, yeah, it is still setting up. I'll introduce the other guest in a moment, who's in studio. We will not be accused of nepotism on the show tonight, but we'll discuss that later. We witnessed the unveiling of the new officers for the National Unity Platform in Makerere, Kavule. Let's start with the process of now moving from Kamocha now to Makerere, Kavule, and the unveiling of new officers. Ofono people have been complaining that for all its 37 years in power, the National Resistance Movement has promised a party headquarters owned by itself, and that hasn't been realized as yet. A very young party called the National Unity Platform has opened offices, new headquarters in Makerere, Kavule, and on social media there was circulation recently of images that seems to suggest that the chairman of your party was driving by that place to take in the view of where that new office is. I think they deserve some congratulations from you, don't they?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate NUP, young as they are, both in terms of when they were registered, but also the group of the membership for quickly, within 2 years, being able to buy or to build. I'm told they bought, I don't know, and they refurbished a home. I want to congratulate them. But also for the record and to correct you, the NRM has a home. That plot 10 Chadondo Road has since been bought by the NRM, that building where we are. And so we have a home. It has been redesigned. It is much better than 15 years ago, when 15 or so when we got there. But just having a home is not enough. As you know, Milton's party has had the Uganda House since 1968. That did not prevent it from losing power twice. Our colleagues, FDC, as you know, they have a home, I think now almost 10 years. That did not prevent them from losing the second slot as the leading opposition. You know very well, they have not increased the membership of members of parliament. But also, let us just look at where they are. NRM is in Nakasero, the other people are in Kavule, Mawo DP is in Ruwaga, and Kabusu, and FDC is in Najanankumbi. It is only NRM and UPC that are in
the people's government is very close to you. It's walking distance.
Well, that's not a party office. I think that's a pressure group. I think Semuju will tell us that they have only one FDC. And the address of FDC that is registered and known is at Najanankumbi on Entebbe Road. So I think we are still miles apart.
UPC is on Kampala Road.
Kampala Road. We are still miles apart. UPC and NRM. We are miles apart in terms of picking locations.
You are the only parties that have had opportunity to be in power, to hold power.
Yeah.
So maybe that plays.
That plays.
That contributes.
But you know, it's not easy also to acquire and retain power, especially for the long period the NRM has retained.
Let me introduce the man from Kitagwenda, former member of parliament and a member of the National Resistance Movement, the Honorable Agaba Abbas. Very nice to have you.
Thank you, Charles. I'm equally happy to be here this evening and to meet this able team with the frontliners.
With you and Edgar Agaba, the Toro Kingdom is fully represented.
And I'm surprised I didn't know that Edgar is a member of the National Transformation. I'm learning it today.
Which National Transformation?
Eh?
ANT.
Yes.
He's welcome.
No, let me make it very clear. I do not have a subscription card of any political party in Uganda.
That's not true.
I don't. I know you think me NRM, but I do not hold a party card.
Did you say you guys worked together at some time?
Yeah,
so
we
you know each other better.
Mates.
So we'll not go so much into that.
But I thought he's also part of Toro.
I'm part of Rwenzori.
Oh,
part of Rwenzori.
Please don't reignite war.
But they are my neighbors. They are my neighbors. We were under Toro Kingdom. That is a fact that we can't deny. We are not like any RM which runs away from history. It's a history that we shall always hold dear to ourselves.
Thank you, Nyabahasa. Thank you, Nyabahasa.
Yes.
Let me jump briefly to the Honorable Joel Senyonyi on the unveiling of your party headquarters and the ensemble of people you were able to invite to grace that occasion, and what that means for both NUP and the broad opposition for you.
Firstly, Charles, it's good that eventually we unveiled our party. It did not occur to us that it would turn out to be such a big deal, the run-ins with police and the military. That happens for these other activities that we tend to have. But for us to unveil our party offices behind the gate and for that to happen, it was problematic. The first day, they said Mr. Museveni was somewhere within the division, so only he could hold a function, because the place was to have a function was far off from where we were. And we said, anyhow, let's let them be for that particular day. But the following day, we shall be there. So when the military insisted, we said we shall walk there. They'll do whatever they want to do. And a few minutes to 10 a.m., they retreated. I think they got new orders. Perhaps somebody told them, you guys, you're beginning to look very shabby.
I've seen a communication from the Uganda Human Rights Commission commenting about your unveiling of the offices and the deployment around your area.
Oh, finally, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is speaking.
Yeah, they did speak.
Ah, I see. Anyhow, so yes, we get to unveil our party offices. Charles, a home is important. An address is important for people like ourselves.
Do you own the building?
Yes, we do. Not just one. There are 4.
4 buildings. Yes. Some people have been joking and saying what you unveiled, what you revealed as the artistic impression of the office you intended to open is different from what you actually unveiled.
I'll get to that in a bit. So we did invite, because you began by asking the kind of people we invited. We reached out to friends, to people who we think alike and connect with politically and otherwise, and we invited them. So we had political leaders, Dr. Kiza Besigye, the Honorable Erias Lukwago, people from Jema, Chivirige Mayanja Haji, and several others, people from civil society like Nicolas Opio, and so on and so forth, for this function, because like I was saying, a home is important. If you're seeking to take power, you must be organized even in the littlest of things. That's why when OO is saying, it's okay, you can be in Kavule, we are in Nakasero, even if we have a ragtag of a building, after all, we are in Nakasero. It's important for us. And we think Ugandans need to begin to see what it means to be orderly and how government can be run in an orderly manner. I like to say that if your leadership fails at home, don't export it elsewhere. So as NUP, we are saying we must run our party in a particular way, beginning with the littlest of things, such as being organized, having a home that is neat and so on. That's important, yeah? Now, getting to what you were asking, we first of all bought a piece of land that was vacant, and our plan was to put up a structure there. And as we kept engaging our architects and so on, the cost was a stupendous one, but also, as we began now to seek for approvals, it was complicated from the word go. It became very clear that the state would not allow us or give us approvals to put up a structure in whichever form, even if it were not that on which we unveiled. Similar to when we thought, okay, now we need a political party. It was convoluted from the word go for us people power then as a movement to be allowed to register a political party. So we thought of other means. So likewise, we said, okay, so there's buildings around us, let's engage these people. And we did engage them, and so we purchased 4 buildings and remodeled them for much less than what we would have spent in putting up the structure that we had envisioned. And we remodeled them to look as nice as they do look, and to be functional. We still have a big chunk of land. Hopefully in future I'll put up something else, but it was important that we get this going, and for us to have a home. Kamocha remains. Kamocha is going to be a school of leadership, because it's important.
So you also, NUP owns Kamocha?
No, Kamocha is property for the Honorable Chagulanyi. He availed it to the party, and so we were now saying, we're handing your property back to you. And he said, no, I gave up this space to do party work. So we said, let's then begin working out to make this a school of leadership. We need to train leaders. Even trained leaders need to retrain. It's important that we keep adding value. We have so many young people, as Owo was saying, that do believe in us, and you must be able to nurture them. You must be able to shape them a particular way. And so that's what Kamocha is going to become.
The Honorable Semujungan, let me jump to you quickly. You were, since the return of political parties in 2005, you were not a party to own your own headquarters. But the bigger question is, what does it mean? So what if a party owns its own headquarters?
So the question you're asking is a very negative question.
No, it's a question. It's just a question.
Suspicious.
You see, the expenses of running a political party, if you are renting, it means you're going to incur a lot of costs. Like the NRM we're doing, the only advantage they have is that they are using taxpayers' money. But also a headquarters is part of your identity. And I want to thank the Honorable Winnies, who I think at the time I joined FDC, I'm not sure whether the purchasing of that headquarters had not been completed. But largely that headquarters of the FDC was bought by contributions from members of parliament, because the party kept borrowing and paying. So the headquarters will give you an identity, but it is also easier to organize. Of course, these days, I didn't know that the NRM can even stop people from carrying out activities at their headquarters. But they do. I remember when we had prayers, they came and stopped them. They one time occupied Najanankumbi for nearly 3 months.
NRM?
NRM, yes. I meant NRM. I didn't mean anything else.
Okay.
So that's what the headquarters gives you, but also knowing the parties in Uganda. I think the Electoral Commission has about 38 parties. Many of those parties actually exist in a name. You may not even know where they are and why in the first place we even registered them. So when you graduate at a level of building and owning a headquarters, you are in a way distinguishing yourself from the rest of the parties. I think Ochegere had a political party. I don't know if the one that works with NRM.
You mean Uganda's High Commissioner to Nigeria?
Yeah.
Action Party.
Because I remember at the very beginning of political party dispensation, there are parties that were talking to Crispus Chung on behalf of Mr. Museveni at Fairway Hotel, and Chegiri must have been part of that group. So we have about 38 political parties, and I think others just registered and went out. I don't think a party that goes to a level of either buying or constructing a headquarters that it wants just to exist. I don't think so. So that's the beauty. It's part of your identity.
Okay, so you can answer the negative question you said.
No, I have
if it's still negative.
It is, but I have answered.
Oh, you discovered it wasn't negative.
No, it was. Because you are suggesting that actually there is nothing in the headquarters.
No, that's what I was asking.
And then you're asking me, can you answer if there is something?
The Honorable Winnie Kiza, this unveiling of party headquarters, a building owned by the party or infrastructure owned by the party itself, of what significance is it?
Actually, some of the reasons...
And particularly the NUP.
I would like to congratulate the National Unity Platform upon owning a home, actually buying and building a home. It's very important. Even as you grow, it apparently becomes one of the issues that define a man or a woman. Do you have a home? Where do you come from? So I would like to congratulate them upon that graduation, that they now have a permanent home. Even when their leader had offered his premises to be the party headquarters, they saw that it is important to have their personal premises that will be separated from the offer that the Honorable Chagulani had given them. And I really want to congratulate them. I want to put it on record that as ANT we were invited, and want to thank you for the invite. And the other reason, in addition to what Semuju had said, is that a regime like the one we have many times fails political parties in the opposition to rent homes. I remember there is a time we are renting and they made it hard for the owner of the home to continue accommodating us. The man was under pressure. He even told us we are under pressure. That is how, as FDC, we thought of owning our own home. And that is how we started.
In fact, my first office as an MP in Chireka,
yes,
the landlord had to chase me. He said, but you are bringing here police every day. It's as if I was the one bringing police. He said, no, I can no longer have you, sir.
Yes. So...
But I thought the presence of police brought security.
That is if they are coming
closer to the
That is if they are coming for good intentions. So when they are not coming for good intentions, you become a danger and a threat to the person who is giving you accommodation. So for a political party, most especially the one in opposition, to own a home, you just know that that is one hurdle that you have crossed. Even when they can take over the premise, like they took over the premises of FDC, but at least you know that you are talking about a home that belongs to you.
You can defend your space.
You can defend your space even when you say our home has been attacked. Nobody will say, they have not paid rent, that's why we are attacking them, or we are calling police to take over our premise. It is some sense of security, in a way, to you as a political party. Okay. And that is why I am really excited that our colleagues have put up a home. We are also looking forward to owning one. We are still in rented premises. We believe someday we shall also get out of there. And I'm not so surprised that now the NRM is saying, no, we have apparently acquired the home. Maybe they are using it undercover, that now we have acquired this one. The owner may not even come out to say, but they have not paid me if they haven't. But if they have, I also would like to congratulate them.
No, Honorable Winnie, I had hit the two, and our viewers have hit the two, and respect for you.
They still
for you to insinuate when you don't have facts, and I have told you I have been a spokesperson of the NRM.
How is that a big matter?
No, it is a big matter. For you to insinuate that NRM would tell a lie that we have plot 10, we have bought it. We did not buy it yesterday. It is 10 years ago.
But for 10 years we have been telling them they don't have a home. They have never said they have a home.
But months ago somebody was demanding give people of rent.
In fact, before his days, the owner was crying that they are not paying.
It can't be 10 years ago. Now you are also telling a lie.
Secondly, NRM is the only party that has actually constructed by members regional or district offices.
We don't have you as in my district.
I'm not saying you people in Kasese have, but there are
Kasese has a district that you are renting, and I still remember there is a time when the landlord locked it towards the election.
There are more than 5 districts in Uganda that have NRM owned, built, constructed offices, but that's not the point really. The point I'm making is the NRM headquarters has been purchased.
It might be a
by
recent
the NRM.
development.
I am telling you, it is not. We did not wait for NUP or for you. We bought it on our own volition.
Okay.
Congratulations.
But if you want to go that direction,
I can see
congratulations.
You see, I think the viewers are wondering. We have taken the argument to whether you own the home or not. I think it's about having a home as a political party. You can have a rented premise.
Yeah. We are talking
You can
about
have.
owning.
You can have an. You can own. My sister, you are in a rented premise, but you have a home. That's your identity.
And that's what I said, that we are looking forward towards building our own.
And really, we wish you very well.
Thank you so much.
That when time comes and you're of age, you can own, because men own homes when they become of age. It's not very unique, but the point is, a party needs to start somewhere. I mean, FDC, I think there were donations of Mr. Garuga before, and also Mr. Chapaka Ruhanga, as contributing their premises, the way the NRM also started and blah, blah, blah. So somehow they metamorphose to own what they have. It's good to own, but for those who are not owning, it's not so bad when they are renting, as long as it's an identity, their supporters can find them there. I mean, NUP, it's the other day. Honorable Semuji was talking about briefcase parties. We did not know about NUP. Actually, I think even Honorable Chagura did not know about NUP. But the circumstances prevailing, circumstances of the day prevailing, ended him in NUP, and then picked up. NUP picked up, and now it's a big party. It's really it's a big party. And also, I joined the rest to congratulate NUP for owning, yes, but also it wouldn't have been so terrible if they didn't own. But I need to remind my brother Senyui. You see, the law requires political parties to declare their donations, the monies they get. So other parties may not be aware. So if by the time a party is, if NUP is able to buy 4 buildings in a prime place like Kamocha, like Kavule, yes, it's a prime place. And so they must have really big followers or big sponsors who are giving it money. It's right to declare. The reason the Auntie is renting and NUP is owning, it also has to do with the weight of the followers or the donors. But I mean, it's ethical. It's part of ethics too.
Don't worry, we'll file our returns with the Electoral Commission.
A declaration of source of funds has caused the split in the FDC. So the matters you're raising are very...
No, it's important. And that's why as a party, we file annual returns. Your party does not.
Well, yeah, I just thought it's right for me to let you know. But
you're right.
I imagine...
That's why we do file returns annually.
No, when
you guys don't.
No. Well, you see, the argument arose that NRM bought yesterday, bought the other day. When they are demanded, they can be provided. So, they are available.
Honorable Gaba Bass, I thought that is a matter of law. You're required by the law,
yes,
not when the regulator demands.
No, the NRM declares, or if I use returns, but when you want to access them, they are available. You can access them. It's not that.
Let me get a quick comment from. Let me get a quick comment from. Edgar, then we'll move on to the substantial discussion. Yes, NUP unveiled new headquarters, and that is anchoring our discussion tonight because we see some kind of romance between them and one section of the Forum for Democratic Change. But on the new party headquarters, the shift from Kamocha now to Makerere Kavule.
You know, I don't know why the issue of building a party or unveiling party headquarters is such a big deal. When you look at the equally vibrant multi-party democracies as ours in Africa, Ghana, let me just call next door Kenya. Kenya has had many political parties morphing, you know, alliances, counter-alliances. They always unveil party headquarters. Every time, for instance, Raila has rebranded himself they've gotten party headquarters, Ruto, Uhuru. So I don't. You go to Burundi, a much poorer country than Uganda. I was discussing with Mr. Podell, a much poorer country than Uganda. Its economy is maybe a tenth of Uganda's. The political parties there unveil party offices, even at district level. So maybe it's such a big deal. Maybe it's not. But since it's been made a big deal, I think, and particularly given that they had been labeled young, inexperienced, and all sorts of adjectives thrown at them. At one point, I think they were not even referred to as disorganized, but as unorganized. So to the extent that they've erected or remodeled buildings into political party offices and been able to put the resources to do what they've done, then I think they are beginning to, the embryo is beginning to grow. And in the same vein, I add my voice to those who have congratulated them, and I say, hongera sana.
Thank you. Let me come back to Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujju. We see some kind of causing up between the group of FDC that you belong to and the National Unity Platform. Should we be reading anything more than what we're seeing in the images, the photo ops?
I think, Charles, maybe for purposes of the debate tonight, you are being selective. At the function of the unveiling the parties of National Unity Platform, there are many individuals and political parties that were invited. We are just one of them. The ANT was invited. The Honorable Win Chiza has confirmed. GM was represented by Chivirike Mayanja, the founding leader of that party. I think the Honorable Miriam Atemberedi the prayers.
Representing which party?
I did say individuals and political parties. I joined politics 2010. That's when I resigned from Observer to go and join politics. My first assignment was to speak for the IPC, taking over from the Honorable Wafula Ogutu.
And the IPC was?
The IPC was the Inter-Party Coalition.
Cooperation, I think.
Yes. The UPC was there, DP was there, in and out, GEMA was there, CP. But if you want to take it far, from the time of the Constituent Assembly, military rule, were pulling together. That's why you had the caucus in the parliament. I think it was led by Mulenga, or can remind me at that time he was a journalist. The caucus of the multi-party, they were being called multi-parties at that time. So since then,
it was led by Nabadere actually. Caucus for Democracy. It was Nabadere.
CA, that was CA.
It's talking of CA. Mulenga was not in the parliament, it was CA.
I said it was the CA.
Yeah, it was Professor Nabadere who was leading the National Caucus for Democracy, not Mulenga.
So the IPC, the UPC and DP, I think were the main parties sponsoring late Paulo Kawanga Semogere for the 1996 elections. The most recent attempt for the opposition to work together was TDA. So the desire to work together has always been there, and the attempt to work together. It is much more complicated and made complicated, especially by those of us who are seeking political offices. Because if I'm going to contrast against the Honorable Joel Senyon, and I see that by working together it will be Senyon who will be selected, then I'm going to say working together is very bad, because the Senyonyis are very bad people. That's what has complicated the working together of the opposition in Uganda, mainly. Because in Uganda, most of the political parties are also led by people who are contesting the elections. I was in Ghana. The party now in opposition, which was the ruling party, someone resigned from parliament to go and become a secretary general. So the party has capacity to pay someone to go and become a secretary general, and then they will have a functional secretariat. I think that party has a building of either 17 or 18 floors in Accra. So the political parties in Uganda are still poor. That's why people who are contesting for elections are going to be the executive committee members. So most of their decisions are decisions to favor them.
So what we are seeing with...
So by us going, now
yes.
Let me be direct, it is not the first time that you've seen us appear with National Unity Platform. We have appeared many times on matters of mutual interest. After the Soroti by-election, we issued a joint communique at Hotel Africana speaking about elections and how they are cheated by NRM. And we said collectively we'll try to find a solution. Because you see,
are you forging a new alliance? You said it well. In 1996 election, you had the Inter-Political Forces Corporation, IPFC, that supported the candidature of Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere,
yes.
Since deceased. In 2001, political parties in the opposition, even if they were not yet allowed, coalesced around the reform agenda and Dr. Kizza Besigye's candidature. By 2006, you had a formal working together of political parties that were registered then. Same in 2011, 2016, TDA, as you said. 2021, we didn't see such an effort. 2026, what are you cooking up?
There was actually an effort. We had many meetings.
Yes.
But as I said, even the IPC that you're talking about, some people pulled out of it at the later stage. You remember the Honorable Norbert Mao went it alone. Even Mzee Sivana Chisto Studu was sponsored by DP. The UPC along the way, I remember they signed an agreement at the home of the Honorable Mama Miria Obote Karure. But after signing the agreement, she also vanished later. That's why I said that political parties inherently will each want to field a candidate or candidates. So, and there has not been a mechanism to, agreed to choose those candidates. So it has always been a disagreement. Even in TDA, it was a disagreement. Who becomes the candidate? Is it Dr. Kizza Besigye or Mama Mbabazi? But the reason we want to work together all the time is because we face the same conditions.
Thank you.
You're going to be beaten by Mr. Museveni and his military.
Beaten at the elections.
They are going to shoot at you. Where do you live? For you to ask even that question. So they are going to shoot at you. They are going to kill your supporters. They will come and take over your office. So the conditions that we face are the ones that are making us wanting to work together.
Thank you.
We may humanly fail, but the desire remains.
Honorable Winnie Kizza, the FDC, for example, which is a party you belonged to before, is split. Attendance at the NUP headquarters unveiling was by one group that, for all intents and purposes, has been kicked out of leadership, and new leadership has taken over, which is not in good collaboration between what we have at Katonga and what we have in Naja Nankombe. What kind of cooperation or coalition can emerge with, for example, the National Unity Platform, if one was to be forged?
By the way, when he was speaking, the Honorable Joel Senyonyi did allude to the fact that they invited so many people.
Yes.
I may not be so sure whether the FDC Naja Nankumbi wasn't among those many people that, or many political parties and individuals that were invited. And as to whether they chose not to attend, or maybe they were into other activities, that is a different matter. But the most important thing, just like the Honorable Semuju has said, is the unity of purpose of the members of the opposition and all the change-seeking Ugandans to come together. If I may be allowed to use the words of Edward Halley and Henry, that getting together, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. We always desire to come together, keep together, and work together, irrespective of our political affiliations, because it is true that the challenges we face are similar. And it is true that what we desire is similar. It is also true that the Uganda we envision is not different from what each political party aspires to have. I know even all these Ugandans would feel happy that members of the opposition or all those who seek to change Uganda to a better Uganda would come together and start advocating for the same cause on the same table, not to confuse the voters. And the unfortunate bit is that each one of us have their own interests. I would pray that as we continue aspiring to come together, maybe we also become tolerant of each other. That we acknowledge that we are differently modeled. We have our ups and downs, we have our weaknesses and strong points, and that we should be able to accommodate each other's weakness and strength. That whoever has a strength should be able to bring it on table to cover up the weaknesses of the other. And in this, I don't really say that maybe the coming together of the other members to congratulate the National Unity Platform upon having a home or owning a home was in a way saying, now this is another force. But, like Semuju has been saying, we have been working together.
Okay, but how does that align with the fact that the individual political parties are facing major fissures within themselves and then attempting to work together at the top level?
Now that is the biggest challenge that we have, and if you may remember, when we came to this show and we were discussing the troubles within the FDC, I said it is unfortunate that these troubles are coming to the forefront and are getting into the public domain. That would have been better for these troubles to be sorted internally so that we really try to see how we can keep together as a team. I said it here, that even when we are scattered, we are heading towards the same destination. So it is important that we look at working together than dividing ourselves. It is always unfortunate that we divide ourselves other than coming together to work together. But the things that divide us are really not so much significant, only that we blow them out of proportion as individuals and as actors, and then we find that we are not really working the way we should work. But if that collaboration happens, I know the Ugandans would equally be happy, they would welcome it, and we work together as a team to change the Uganda to what we want it to be.
How feasible is a new cooperation or coalition between the opposition political parties?
How can I know? I am not in their boardrooms where they are discussing. I observe from outside, but usually we have some tools of analysis for social sciences, even physical sciences. It is good. NUP now is the leader of opposition, at least in parliament. By that status, the onus is on NUP actually to lead the other opposition parties in parliament and the policy alternatives that they present in the country and in parliament. So I don't see, I wouldn't, that by itself I wouldn't read so much when they invite people of like mind, as they say, birds of the same feather flock together to go and give each other morale boosting and so on. That is a good thing. If it had been NRM that had invited other parties, most likely they would have said it is because we want to compromise those other parties. But when it is done by them, it's perfectly okay, and I think I wish them well. Now, at the center of the dispute in FDC, the ongoing one, has been Honorable Semuju here was the whistleblower, I think, with the Kizza Besigye, and they said the other group wanted leadership so that they can hand over FDC as a party to NRM. Honorable Nandara Mafabi was here. And he also said that these ones
were given money equally.
Want to hand over FDC to NUP, particularly NUP Buganda. That's what they said. And in fact, Honorable Amriat said, we now regret the hiring of Omuchuba, a mercenary Lukwago, to come and disorganize. So my suspicion, somebody, Professor Barimureba, put up a cheeky post on social media and said, we knew their destination even before they started working. That when the conflict started, according to Barimureba, said he knew the destination, that the destination of the Semujus was to have rapprochement.
You need to find another credible person to quote, not
with the NUP. But let us assume that they have that intent to work together, maybe field the joint candidates, coordinate activities, and so on and so forth, to confront the common problem, according to Honorable Semuju, which is NRM.
There is no NRM.
Yeah, that's okay. Even if you narrate to just Museveni, that's okay. What has been the situation before? This wouldn't be a new situation. There wouldn't be, some of the actors are new, but the principal actors are the same. Mr. Besigye, as you know, we have fought him now 4 times, 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, 2021, he chickened out, but he was there. The reason he didn't come, he knew. So, his fighting capacity, his fighting method, NRM people know. I don't think...
I had no idea it was war between you and...
I am using war in a figurative. Figurative, not literally.
Why didn't he know if people are being shot?
So his intent, his method operandi, his capacity to organize, and so on, is something that NRM has mastered. So I don't think Besigye would create a new situation that is better for the opposition.
Thank you.
I don't think the Semujus now will have put them in a corner. I don't think they are likely to wriggle out of that corner easily, even if...
It is you who put them there?
Even, yes.
With your money?
You think FDC hasn't expanded on, because it doesn't want to expand? It is because of the counter-action, democratic counter-action of the NRM. That's why we narrowed the FDC from where they were in Teso. You remember there was a time when FDC was the reigning party in Teso, in West Nile, in Acholi, in Rukungiri here recently. But it is the counter-action of NRM, largely democratic counter-action, political mobilization.
Largely and...
yes, I'm using largely because...
Including
yes,
shooting.
I am using the word largely because I am not blind to some of the unfair, unconstitutional, illegal method that elements in NRM have applied to deal with opponents. I'm not blind to those
Thank
cases.
you. We need to take a break.
I explain it. And so...
But we have also had the same within the NRM.
Yes.
The same excesses.
Thank you all.
Not only as against the opposition.
Besigye is a bad omen wherever he goes, I think. So I don't think he's going to create a new good situation.
Bad omen.
Wherever he goes.
That's why Museveni was able to win the war because of Besigye being...
But it was not the principal actor. It was not the principal actor.
Let me take a couple of messages. We'll pick that up after a short break. But Kelly Wanda is watching us and says, a question to Honorable Senyonyi and Honorable Semuju. NUP urged people to register and massively participate in elections, believing they can change government through elections. On the other hand, the head of FDC Katonga, Dr. Besigye, has said he doesn't believe in elections delivering change. How is the romance between them considering this contradiction, who has yielded or changed position? Kelly Wanda, and he adds, NUP is a formal party. Well, FDC Katonga is not. What sort of romance works best in such a scenario? Thank you, Kelly, for that question. Gift in Nansana wants Ofono Pondo to account for an article that was run on 22nd August 2006, headlined Mbaba secures US dollars 137 million to build 29 floors NRM tower. He says,
on that.
He says, whatever. Can I just read? Can I just read these messages? We take a break and then we'll pick it up. We'll pick it up. He says, Joel Senyonyi, why the launched NUP officers are different? I think you answered that already from the artistic impression. And Ofono Pondo, you seem to belittle Makere Kavule as a low-end place. He should be mindful not to annoy the Prime Minister of this country, who is a neighbor to NUP officers.
And they call her a fishmonger. So.
And he says Edgar should be officially made a co-host. Otherwise, you're heckling and they're not happy. That's a BMK gift in Nansana. Let me take a message from Chigozi Siraj, who says, is there any chance for reconciliation between FDC Katonga and FDC Najanankombi? Mr. Semuju.
No.
What was the aim of conducting nationwide... what was the aim of conducting nationwide rallies by NUP? Senyonyi. What next for NRM after Museveni? Mr. OO. What is the biggest stake in the year 2023 regarding our politics in Uganda? Mr. Tabaro. Number 5, do you think that ANT is going to join NUP in the year 2026? Miss Winnie. These are 5 questions for 5 different people. I hope you'll provide him answers.
I answered mine in one sentence.
Yeah, you answered already.
Not even a sentence, in one word.
And Andrew Mujenzi says, Uganda has more pressing issues than NUP buying officers. If a man buys his house, does he go around talking about it? That's Andrew Mujenzi. Let me see, Ofono should not spoil the show. How come it is now that NRM is claiming to own a home after NUP have unveiled their home? That's a question for Ofono Pondo. I have seen a message, someone says, I have seen, who is this? Omhere Zabirunji is watching us from Kavende. Thank you very much for watching. And I have a message from Laban, that's your home. Laban Mohawe is watching us and says, politics is adding on from all sources. NT source from FDC, Katonga, faction of FDC heading to NUP, and Oboy faction facing NRM side. So is FDC still alive? I can't make out this message. My sister Winnie or my brother Ibrahim can answer me. Laban Chitagata Shema. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll pick up on this conversation.
Frontline.
Here's an opportunity to perform during the UB40 featuring Ali Campbell concert. Using your smartphone, record a video of yourself singing one of Ali Campbell's songs like Red Red Wine, Cherry O Baby, Falling in Love, among others. Post it on your TikTok or Instagram using the hashtag NextBigThing or the hashtag UB40FTAliCampbell. The videos with the most likes or engagement will be selected to either win tickets to the show or qualify to perform live during the concert. UB40 featuring Ali Campbell, the next big thing.
Are you having headache, sore throat, muscle pain, toothache, or fever? Then use Curamo Plus. Curamo Plus is strong on pain and gentle on stomach. It's available in all drug shops countrywide. It's not recommended for children under the age of 12 years. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
We always tell ourselves we need to do more, relax and enjoy more. Every time you walk into Kimbaba's restaurant, you are reminded to do all this and a lot more. With an extensive menu meant to give you endless options, to amazing catering, spa services, and so much more. Kimbaba's restaurant.
Attention, stop. Engineer Kajubinduse. Classing session. No school fees. Kati waliwo abagamba nti all amabati are the same. Mbalaba. It seems you wanted to take in building your home. Some of you go to make road call on your roof, only to find that karate yasoke. Eyo mupeyo. And those of you taking shortcuts, eyo nyondo kumutwe papa. Now let me tell you, superior quality terimba. Era, ask for Uganda budget because nothing beats superior quality.
Choose from Uganda Bati's wide range of superior quality roof sheets and make your home the pride of the neighborhood.
Wow, this is what I call a home.
Uganda Bati, nothing beats superior quality.
I'm going to
Step into the world of Nyege Nyege for 4 unforgettable days and nights where your wildest dreams come to life and the party never stops. Come with us as we return to the source of the Nile from November 9th to 12th and dance the night away with your crew while 300 international and local artists set the Nile ablaze. Secure your tickets and accommodation now at www.nyegenyege.com and feel the wonder of Nyege Nyege with Uganda Warji and Smirnoff. Brought to you by Talent Africa, NBS TV, Nyege Nyege Tapes, Ginger City Council, Smirnoff Vodka, and Uganda Warji.
Alcohol is not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Please drink responsibly.
Dreamline Furniture brings you the best comfort to your home. Come and buy international world-class furniture from Dreamline Furniture, ranging from sofa sets, dining tables, king-size beds, TV stands, among others. Right from Turkey to Kampala, save that air ticket money and get quality and durability at Dreamline Furniture. Located opposite Shell Ginger Road, Kampala. Ample parking spaces available behind the Winton Road. Dreamline Furniture, comfort at its best.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Resource Rights Africa, Enable, Dan Church Aid, Oxfam and other partners are scheduled to host the 5th Annual Symposium on Business and Human Rights, which will be held from the 9th to the 10th of November 2023 at Sheraton Hotel, Kampala, and online and live on NBS TV. The symposium will be held under the theme Assessing Uganda's Journey in Access to Justice for Business and Human Rights, and will bring together multiple stakeholders in Uganda and beyond to take stock of the opportunities and challenges in advancing the respect for human rights by businesses in the country, but also reflect on the 2.5 years implementation of Uganda's National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. You can be part of the 5th Annual Symposium on Business and Human Rights by registering for this pivotal event. Attendance is by invitation. This message is brought to you by Resource Rights Africa with funding support from Enable.
Era tutukanga omuntu nti ni gasita ndala mukaaga itano sita isatu ash onige yes
nga obakubuza machanti
nga bamubuza machanti code nga tumukobata mu nsanvu bino ndi olumalirizawo ngatamwe sente dali kuwayo kumbaga ya mwenemu sawa yeneyo nga kyabazinga amwebaza nga tweyongere kai tujja mu kyalo ekindi
ekikoba embago lunawa luti nga mwira
tulija kumala kai tweyongere emyezi mukaaga nga tukasumisa abantu momope
baba embaga ya mwenemu eriyo nga 18 kai emyezi omukaaga gyoli kuongeramu ojaji
oyidi ne byamomope abantu yembite yona bandeta momo ono ne bibali kumpaka ne byamomo pabi tyama kupikipiki ojo bisomese
muleke musoni we tyamaja
baba tuka bulungi
simbule embalasi asumulude
momo nyabo
pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cashback every week. It's free of charge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
Frontline.
You're still watching the Frontline on NBS TV, and we'll take advantage of this break as we resume to extend early birthday greetings to Emeritus Bishop MacLeod Ochola, Baker Ochola. who is retired in Kitgum now, and the people in Kitgum organizing major celebrations and to bolster the Macleod Ochola Foundation this coming weekend. So to Bishop Macleod Ochola, who was very active in many of the political discussions and the peace talks in northern Uganda. Yes, especially the resolution of the LRA conflict. He was key. He's since retired. We don't talk much about him now, but the people in his area are organizing, and I think the nation is organizing to celebrate him. I think he's making 91 years of age. We continue the discussion on what we see on the horizon on the political scene. Let me ask Edgar Tabaro, what do you read? You've seen the bromance. You've seen what has happened before.
Let me draw from experiences where multi-party democracy has been introduced and attempts at deepening multi-party democracy and building, and I'm using my words carefully, a nascent democracy. You know, nascent democracies have not developed that level of maturity, but they've gone some steps towards deepening democracy. And just next door in Kenya, 1991, Ford, Forum for Return to Democracy. They were heading for the 1992 elections in December, and they looked like they had cobbled up the party as a marriage of convenience to take on Moi. And you needed a minority. You didn't need the 50 plus. I think you needed to win in 4 provinces, and you know, they had some mathematics. And I remember their politics are mainly tribal, which I'm also beginning to hear now. I told Amriat talking of NUP Buganda and FDC Katonga, you know, similar marriages of convenience or cohabitations. So in Kenya, they cobbled it up, hoping that the candidate that would be chosen would be Ken Matiba. But Ken Matiba had been hospitalized following being brutalized by the GSU of Kenya. And the day he returned, he had more than 1 million people who received him. So they had developed a deep rift between him and the late Oginga Odinga. The Luos wanted to have their turn at running the Republic of Kenya. So there came a split. Ford Asili and Ford Kenya. Like we are having FDC-N, standing for FDC Najana Kumbi, and FDC-K, or FDC Katonga. Because of these marriages of convenience, when you cobble up organizations, political parties, without strong foundations, that's what is bound to happen.
Isn't that what runs governments in other democracies? People would be looking, for example, at the fragile coalition holding together the Israeli government in this crisis, for example. Without that coalition, there would be no government by Netanyahu.
Israel is not...
You look across Europe, it's marriages of political parties at critical moments that hold governments together.
And I chose my words carefully. I talked of nascent democracies. I'm not talking of very mature democracies. A nascent democracy has what we witness here. Violence and normalization of violence. I know much of the time our concentration is on the violence against the opposition. But even within his own political party, the primaries are like, I don't know what words to use to describe it.
Like Middle East.
like Beirut.
Beirut or Gaza?
I don't want to use Gaza. I was telling Abbas that he will not draw me into that discussion of Gaza. So, then in 1997, same thing happened. Raila Odinga formed the NDP. Ford Kenya was taken over by Kijana Wamalwa. Then we had the DP formed for the Kikuyus by late Kibaki. Why am I emphasizing this? We have many similarities with attempts at democratization or deepening democracy and multi-party politics as Kenya. Moi was not an easy person to push over. Only that age caught up with him and he had to come to terms with it. And so the reason we've had the kind of transitions we've had. But even over the time, in Kenya, their coalitions hardly last even a week. They are meeting at a hotel. They meet at hotels like NUP and FDC Katonga. But before they even disperse from the meet, they are making phone calls to make coalitions with other parties. So the question would be, what is the ideological foundation of the FDC or NUP that would bring them together? At least when you listen to, and please don't mistake me for ANT, when you listen to General Muntu, he appears to have a message that we need to build institutions. We need to build grassroots rather than this holabalo, jingoism, posturing and gesturing.
You use the example of Kenya, and Kenya is the one that doesn't go back to those ideological foundations or even have enough time to consult their constituencies.
For Kenya, usually there are deals.
Those things are cobbled together in Muthaiga, and then you have...
Thank you very much.
Yes, you have...
Thank you very much. Business deals at Muthaiga. It used to be Hilton Hotel, and sometimes they would go to these Uhuru's exclusive safari resorts. That's where they would cobble those things from. And for them, they came to a realization that Kenya is a bigger entity than their egos. So there's need to give and take. However, you shall also recall that between Uhuru and Ruto...
But you're discussing Kenya instead of Uganda.
No, I'm coming to Uganda. I'm coming to Uganda.
I'm wondering when you're going to discuss Uganda.
No, I'm coming to Uganda because the cohabitation or the marriages of convenience in Uganda are those that can't last beyond an election. And indeed, the Honorable Semuju has spoken about the history. First, in the CA, the person who was leading the discussions at that time, he referred to late Justice Molenga, but the person was actually Nabudere.
Yes.
Nabudere tried to cobble, it was called the National Coalition for Democracy.
National Caucus.
Caucus for Democracy. I remember you were a senior reporter at the New Vision. And the discussions were that Uganda should prepare for a multi-party democracy immediately. But of course, you know, it didn't happen, and Semogorere led the walkout, and they never signed the constitution in 1995. 2001, it was hastily cobbled up together again. And the reason being, okay, there are those, you remember the Young Parliamentary Association, Young Parliamentary, YPA.
Yeah, that was 6th Parliament.
In the 6th Parliament, that later became Parliamentary what?
Advocacy Forum.
Advocacy Forum. Which
didn't become, it mutated.
It mutated and merged with the National Democratic, is it? Forum of Chapakarohanga.
No, it actually merged with Reform Agenda.
No.
Yes, Reform Agenda merged with the National Democratic Forum of Chapakarohanga, and then PAFO.
And PAFO.
Yes.
So, yeah, at that time, there appeared to be a genuine cause to reform the NRM. Because if you remember the other 13-page missive that Dr. Besigye...
No, but you can't reform NRM.
That was before.
When you're outside the NRM.
When the people driving are from outside NRM, that's not true.
But
the 13 pages you're talking about is...
The merger was in 2006.
Yes. Yeah.
And the 13 page was before.
It was 1999.
It was
1999. Yeah, but that was the background, the root of the reform. The reform. They chose to push for reform of the NRM outside of the NRM. I don't know how practical that would have.
Well, it collapsed, as you know.
We're talking about a multi-party democracy that started in 2005.
Yes.
But I need to jump to...
so what I'm saying that, what I'm really saying, that it is going to be very difficult in the circumstances for a coalition beyond the marriage of convenience. And any coalition of a marriage of convenience really collapses. Because there's no love between the what?
Honorable George Senyonyi,
between the parties.
What are you guys actually cooking up?
Who?
You guys at NUP and your friends at Katonga and any other friends you might have.
So, I don't know why some of these things excite you people. At that function, we invited several political parties. CP was represented by John Ken, the man. PPP by its leader now, Saddam Gaira, and the Secretary General. Haji Chibirige Mayanja was there on behalf of JEMA. We invited some DP folks who didn't follow Mao to join NRM, and so on and so forth. You see, as folks that are pursuing change, and we like to call ourselves the United Forces of Change, because we ought to unite anyway. We are more similar than we are different. And that's something we like to keep emphasizing. We are more similar than we are different. We are one big family. And that means we will in many ways operate together. Yeah. Of course, sometimes it is the easier, low-hanging fruit kind of things, like, you know, a function such as the one that we had. But then we want to see how we get deeper, because it's important, away from an election. You see, elections are very emotive and sometimes they distract. Because you see, at that point, everybody wants to be on the ballot. So if you're going to have discussions about an election, 2 months to an election, it's complicated. Everybody wants to be at the ballot. Yeah? If you're saying, let's try and unite at the top, the people below are saying, if you guys unite at the top, that means our interests are going to suffer. You know, because I am red, he is blue. So if at the top there is unity, one of us will become collateral damage. And so the folks now down here begin to fight and so on. So you want to first do away with that destruction, because what we are more interested in is change. And we need to work together towards that. And that's what we are trying to do. Is it easy? Of course not. It's complicated stuff, getting people in a room that you know, come from all walks of life, politically speaking. People have their entities, their political parties, and so on. But we are trying to really inoculate it within ourselves that, look, we are more similar than we are different. Our pursuit for change is the same. Let's see how we can work together. And that's a conversation that continues to happen. Yeah? Will it bear fruit immediately? Regardless, we keep doing so. Yeah. So when I see the excitement that now, okay, so what new thing are these guys cooking up? Sometimes we'll meet for a cup of tea, and that's okay.
And discussions are held at cups of tea. They are held at the golf course. They are held in all sorts of places.
Wherever. So
yes,
and that's what I'm saying. You know, that if you see me with whoever, Honorable Chagulanyi, with Dr. Besigye, somewhere for a cup of tea, you know, don't get alarmed and say, now, so what are they cooking up, or that kind of thing.
Isn't that a major contradiction, Honorable Senyonyi, when you have lambasted the causing up between, for example, President Yoweri Museveni and his NRM and Norbert Mao of the Democratic Party, or the folks at the Uganda People's Conference?
That's different. Mao signed an MOU.
Before they signed an MOU, they were causing up.
Yeah, they were getting ready for the real official thing.
Isn't it the same thing that we are looking at here?
Well, like I've said,
you're leading on in the same
like
direction.
I've said, as the forces of change, we are more similar than we are different.
You know, recently, Dr. Besigye
said, give me the information.
That the last 2.5 years, since 2021, there hasn't been a pressure on Yoweri Museveni because of the weak leadership of NUP.
Where did he say that? Where did he say that from?
He said because of the weak leadership, and consequently, Mr. Museveni is more...
Where did he say that from?
Mr. Museveni is on parties and parties and parties.
Either you're forging up things, or because of old age, you're forgetting what you had. I don't know.
So I am telling you, and you have just said here that it is going to be hard. I can tell you it's going to be very hard for you to cover that.
Forces for what?
United Forces.
Anyhow, let me finish the point I was making.
Finish the point you're making.
Because of our similar pursuits, and yeah, there will be some destructive elements, you know. Actually, now you see these ones are connecting with the others because they are similar tribes. When Semuju and his colleagues are asking about accountability issues, you say, you're disturbing us because you're Baganda or because you're friends with NUP. You respond to the accountability issues the man is asking about. Account for the money. Don't cause this. So there will be those noises, but ours is to see how we continuously, because like I'm saying, and I'll keep repeating, we are more similar than we are different, and the sooner we realize that, the better. And hopefully it gets to trickle down to our supporters and so on, because sometimes there's a bit of fighting at that level unnecessarily so, because of the excitement of elections. Everybody has their supporters and so on. So you want that away from an election, how can we put ideas together and pursue this thing?
Okay. Someone says a united front among the opposition wouldn't just enhance the impact of their voice, it would also cultivate confidence and resonance within the population. Whether this cohesion translates into actual change is a complex and an uncertain matter, but it undoubtedly sets the stage for a more formidable political competition. To you, Honorable Abbas Agaba, what will restore people's confidence following several false starts in attempts to unite the opposition?
First of all, I disagree with the one who sent the message. In 1996, when the UPC allied with DP, the leaders allied, but the followers did not follow the alliance. The people stayed back and they voted with the movement that time. 75%. So it's to assume that the voters are in an ideal situation, that they are able to follow. Of course, you may have people to mobilize them, but it's a bit difficult that they'll just follow you with the new alliance that has come. Number two, I think I want to concede to what Honorable Senyonyi said. It is too early to judge, and I'm sure even if there was something they were planning, I don't think Senyonyi will tell us the truth now that we have had caucuses with the BSJ or so to do ABC. It's their secret. They wouldn't raise it here. The last time the Mzee Moi identified Uhuru Kenyatta as his successor, it was enough for everybody now to gang against Uhuru. Is there a problem with Uhuru? No. We are just against who? Against Moi. So, of course, if it's known early, the possible opposition is higher. But generally speaking, alliances, it's more of principledness in the alliance. What are the principles? How serious is the alliance? Has to do with how serious are the people in it, but also too, to what extent are you allying? Is it joining together to win an election, and then after the election, what do you do? And I think that's where we really have a big problem with the opposition, generally in Africa, not only Uganda. The opposition in Africa focuses on unseating the incumbent without necessarily providing alternative programs to the people to build their appreciation of the opposition over time.
That's not true.
That's what
alternative legislative agenda. We produce alternative.
What is the alternative on UPE?
UPE
as
firstly,
what's the alternative on UPE?
We ought to avail a lot better money than we are availing. Do you know how much we give to capitation grant today?
So you stay with UPE but give it more money?
Your government is giving to UPE capitation grant today per student.
Okay, so you stay with UPE. No, I know. But
you tell us.
I need you to give me the alternative to UPE. You want to stay with UPE, but maybe capitalize
Actually, we're saying
more.
UPE is supposed to be a good program, which you guys have run down the drain.
Okay, better management of UPE.
You're giving quantity education as opposed to quality education.
Okay, I think let me make the point. Let me make the point here.
There's a dispute about that. 7 years ago, 1.8 million children enrolled in primary one. At the just concluded PLE exams, 60%. Only 700,000 sat. So there's a 1.1 million that's unaccounted for.
Over 60%
just go ahead.
So over time,
just go ahead. Do P3 work.
Yes.
Over time, what you call a reasonable alliance that can stand the test of time is when the opposition can agree to share through the alternative programs that they have available, then it can bind them together. But that means some parties will be killed or will be merged
and you're being
into...
unfair, Honorable Gababas.
Yes.
And Senyonyi has just told you, in Parliament, they produce an alternative budget.
Every year.
They produce a response to the State of the Nation address by the President.
And
they have
all
produced
ministerial policy statements.
And they produce ministerial statements alternative to ministerial statements. Both FDC, at least, and NUP have unveiled during the time of leadership their alternative policies.
Charles, you can even tell him about our manifestos, which they don't read.
Not all political parties are in Parliament.
But Charles,
The Parliament, the Parliament presentation.
And I know many NRM people say it, and he has domesticated it to Africa, that majority of the opposition in Africa support unseating. Isn't that what Museveni said in his book, What is Africa's Problems? Because it is in Africa that someone can use a gun to stay in power for 37 years, appointing his wives and the children and everybody in the government. In Europe, it doesn't happen. So you don't have to allow it to unseat a government because the government will go. So it is legitimate in Africa that the opposition who are oppressed, whether it is in Zimbabwe, whether it is in Burundi, wherever it is, whether it is in Nigeria, whether it is in Malawi, whether it is in Zambia, all the DNA, the country you want me to mention does not have elections. Think about countries that hold elections.
But that's the opinion of the Honorable
So it is legitimate that you get together.
Everyone on the panel here is sharing the opinion. So please, let him make his opinion.
Okay.
Please, just continue.
Yeah, it's legitimate. And for me, I have no apology to make. That you get together with a single agenda of solving Africa's problems as identified by Museveni, that the problem of Africa are leaders who overstay in power. In fact, for me, even if I didn't, I have first Europeans who asked me the same question. I told them, even if I don't have a program, to compete for power is legitimate. Even if I'm going to implement the same programs that Museveni is implementing today,
absolutely.
I don't have to have a new program.
No, but Honorable Semuju, we are talking about a program that attracts supporters to you. There must be an alternative program that,
so
okay,
which program did Museveni come with from where, apart from guns?
No, there are various programs.
He appeared here with guns, not programs. He came brandishing.
What about the 10-point
program? The 10-point program was unveiled much later.
Let me take a message.
But his program was AK-47. Museveni's program was AK-47.
Can I help Honorable Semuju? Just two programs of Museveni and NRM in 1986. Re-establish security and stability in the country.
State.
Two, reintroduce democracy. You can say we are zigzagging, but we re-establish grassroots democracy.
For the first time, for the first time ever.
You said you're helping Semuju.
Yes.
But those same programs had been rejected just less than 2 months earlier on the December 10th 1980 elections.
Yes. How do you cause a change?
In an election?
How do you cause a change?
In an election it had been rejected.
No. Election is not the only way.
Yes.
It's not the only way. You establish a system. You can use a gun. You can use a revolution. You can use a revolt. You can.
So the guys in the opposition are trying to use election.
Yes, and for me, by the way, I have no problem with them. I don't share the views of my brother Abbas. Even if the Semujus had just one agenda to remove Museveni, let them be on that agenda. It should be the group of NRM side who should say, yes, that one agenda of yours, we shall not allow you to actualize it.
Okay.
So I have
no message from Ivan
Instead, in elections, we face police and military. We don't face NRM.
For submission is that political violence or revolution is legitimate.
Do you remember that thesis? You must have read it.
I don't want to wait.
You mean it has been universally applied around the world.
You must have read
when we want to use it,
yes.
What he's talking about.
Yes, and
when they descend on us.
Honorable Nyabahasa, where you elect to use it, please make sure you're successful.
Yes.
Where you fail, it is treason.
Yes.
Let me take a message from Ivan Okuda, who says today's show and discussion, Honorable Gababas, today's show and discussion is a testament on just how detached the Ugandan elite are from the material conditions of we the Wananchi. The political class remains totally out of touch with the misery of the ordinary man. Surely, how can a party opening up offices? I think, Ivan, you jumped into writing this comment too early in the show. The introductory remarks could have, he says, in a country where children are starving to death, opposition unity is a myth because the political opposition actions are in politics for a salary and nothing more than that. So they are so comfortable as those in power. We the Wananchi are on our own. That's a message from Ivan Okuda.
Semuju and Joel are comfortable more than us. So.
Why are you not
okay.
Let me just take one more message and the Honorable Senyonyi represent cosmopolitan constituencies.
Kindly, Edgar. Everyone gets anxious whenever talk of coalitions in Uganda comes up. It came close to reality ahead of 2006 elections until one side pulled out their candidate. In the build-up to 2021, this is 2026, I think it meant 2016. In the build-up to 2021, there were some sort of united forces of change, but didn't see light of the day. Now, since 2001, the opposition believes that all elections have been rigged. Therefore, what temper proof is there, even with a coalition, possibly that 2026 will not be the same story of rigging? As you cue on that, we'll take a quick commercial break and pick it up in a moment.
NBS Frontline. From foundations to homes, to skyscrapers, sketches to superhighways, come meet the people raising the bar in construction at the first ever Uganda Construction and Infrastructure Forum and Exhibition. Genuine contractors, architects, engineers, surveyors, financiers, suppliers, manufacturers, and policy makers under one umbrella for all your construction needs. For 4 days of thought-provoking discussions, exhibitions, and networking. Don't miss the enigmatic Professor P.L. Olumumba, our keynote speaker, from the 14th to the 17th of December at Kololo Independence Grounds. Visit www.unapsec.co.ug for sponsorship and exhibitions. Call Miss Helen or Mr. Mike Sarunkuma on 0774 992 514.
Upgrade your living space with comfort and style. The end of the year sale is here at Nina Interiors, and you don't want to miss out on the amazing deals we have for you. From comfy sofas to sleek dining tables, we've got everything you need to create a space that truly reflects your unique style. Get the best quality and make huge savings this season. Visit our showrooms at House 17, Ginger Road, and Prime Roses Mall in Luboa to get the best discount for the perfect furniture for your home. Nina Interiors.
Better steady, be better.
7 out of 10 of us have lost a substantial amount of money to fraudsters. Money we could have used to pay rent, invest in small businesses, clear fees, or send to mama in the village. Better steady and protect what's yours by being vigilant with your virtual transactions. Keep your PIN to yourself and only take calls from registered customer care numbers in case of telecom issues.
Better steady, be better. To you by Uganda Communications Commission, Bank of Uganda, MTN Uganda, Stanbic Bank, Uganda Bankers Association, United Media, Equity, and MTN Momo.
The biggest derby in the StarTimes UPL is finally here! KCCA versus Vipers! Friday 10th November at Lugogo, 7 p.m. Will the Venoms beat the Kasasino boys, or will the Yellow Boys embarrass the reigning champions? Just pay your subscription and enjoy the battle live on Sanyuka Prime, only on StarTimes. Or download the StarTimes own app to follow the action on your smartphone wherever you are. StarTimes UPL, our league, go for it.
I'm going to
Step into the world of Nyege Nyege for 4 unforgettable days and nights where your wildest dreams come to life and the party never stops. Come with us as we return to the source of the Nile from November 9th to 12th. Secure your tickets and accommodation now.
Whatever sport you enjoy, Sport Action on NBS Sport has you covered. Whether you want to support the Uganda Cranes or our netball team, golf or athletics, both domestic sporting events in Uganda and international sporting events in which Ugandans compete are the subjects of our attention. What are you still holding out for? Catch all the excitement on Sport Action by tuning to NBS Sport, brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Ugandan sports.
Long before Europeans arrived in Africa, great kingdoms and empires ruled over many parts of the continent. Uganda comprised several kingdoms, some of which wielded enormous political clout until they were abolished by President Milton Obote.
Even though in law they were outlawed, in the spirit and in the minds and the hearts of the people, those institutions, those cultures, those beliefs remained.
In 1993, President Yoweri Museveni restored them, but only as cultural institutions.
Tukanyenga bukanya murungereza tebaita consensus.
30 years later, do they signify a repudiation of the modern state or notions of democracy in Uganda and Africa at large?
Sovereignty was taken from Uganda.
Does the blend of traditional and modern systems pave the way for the much-needed political stability and development?
The programs that have been carried out in the last 30 years have benefited not only the people of Uganda, but the entire country.
NBS, in partnership with the author of Thrones and Thorns, Owechitiwa Apollo Makuya, brings you a compelling account of the resurgence of traditional rule in Uganda in a groundbreaking documentary coming soon.
Frontline.
You're still watching the Frontline on NBS TV with a large panel of Agaba Bass, Joel Senyonyi, Edgar Tabaro, Ofono Pondo, Winnie Kiza, and Ibrahim Semujunganda. Someone identifying themselves as JN says, advise Honorable Chagulanyi to retract and contest for the constituency. Otherwise, the presidency is too big for him. Someone identifying himself as JN sent that message. There is another. I have many messages. Let me advise viewers who are trying to communicate to us. If you're sending us a message, send it in a way and in a wording that makes it easier for me to read it. Because if you use words that I find difficult to read, I'll end up skipping your message. So, Davis, from whom you sent a message, I can't make it out. You can resend it and I will read it.
Me actually, Charles, how can they send messages? They see you reading messages, so they keep thinking, how to
people send messages on my phone and I'm able to read them. I'm happy to read them.
Oh, so you
those who can. Yeah, but I'm okay with that and I do that. And
those that don't have your number?
They can find it. It's a public number.
Don't have your number.
Or you wanted to respond to your failure to build headquarters when you collected money.
My brother of FDC in Nancy and BMK.
Yes, gift.
He asked that during the time of Honorable Mama, Right Honorable Mama was as our Secretary General, he had raised, he said it was quoted in the papers, $137
million. That's over 500 billion.
First of all, I doubt that figure, but the point here is NRM did raise money, including conducting a fundraising specifically to build a house on Kelemet Road, just below Crystal Towers. We have there a vacant plot. That
plot is not yours.
I am now telling you, you can go and challenge the ownership.
I know how you got it.
But now you're saying it is not ours, and then you say you know how we got it.
Yes.
You can say you got it irregularly.
Yeah.
But it is ours.
Possession of a title is conclusive evidence of ownership.
So anyway, So anyway, the title belongs to NRM, and the NRM at that time opened an account called the 28th of February in memory of the attack on Masindi, 20th February 1985. I am not the accounting officer of NRM. I want to believe that time they talked of fixing that account. I have not bothered myself to find out if the money is still there or it has been varied used on something else. But otherwise, that fundraising was done. I don't know how much money there is.
Or the money was used to buy the current headquarters, would you say?
This one was bought by M7,
I am
not by NRM.
I am not privy to what that money did, whether it is still there or not. But at least there's that account. 28th
so you can imagine
just 30 seconds.
Yes.
We asked Mbabazi, that time he was now showing interest to run for president. We asked him about that money, the $137 million, over 500 billion shillings. And he told us the party has got a chairman. You go and ask the chairman about that money.
Well,
yes.
But is there any contradiction to what I've said?
No.
And he's saying,
Follow Pondo is admitting that all of them in NRM don't know these things.
I am saying there's an account.
Yeah, and you said
you said you don't know whether the money is there or not.
Do you think everybody in FCC in NUP knows how much money you have?
At least the spokesperson would.
I am no longer the spokesperson, so I am to talk about what I knew then.
But at least it's proven that in the FDC, they don't know where the money comes from and how much they have.
And that is the problem.
That is part of it.
Political parties in Uganda are clearly chalked out due to shrinking civic space and no clear ideology except in unseating Museveni. However, now they are in the iPod pool with which fetches some money. NUP has raised the bar high by launching the new headquarters. Each election cycle gives birth to new forces of change. In recent times, FDC had weathered the storm. However, of late, NUP is sweeping the ground clean. The opposition has been one-man charisma that pulls the crowd. It's not about ideology or a roadmap. Museveni, on the other hand, is the alpha and omega. You can't separate him from the NRM and government. It's all based on one man, whether in the opposition or in the ruling party. That's a message from Jeff Bidandi, who's watching us. Mike Segawa is in Mukono and says, you have a powerful panel tonight, but I don't hear anything new in the discussion, largely because the topic of alliances and party offices isn't much news value, and not giving us viewers as well as the panelists much talk about. Unless someone can clearly answer the so what question you posed earlier, we are hearing from the same old script. I wish to hear more from Honorable Semujunganda on the options, what is left for his Katonga faction.
He said the question was unfair.
That's Mike Segawa.
Is that the Mike Segawa, both former journalists?
Yeah, he's the chairman of the journalists. Yeah.
You see, Charles, we are collectively making progress as a country. And that's why I don't want anyone to look at it as a Katonga, as a Nopo, someone. It is collectively our problem. After writing the constitution, we went implementing that constitution. You begin implementation, and Museveni says, now I am staying in power, you must change it. These political parties, and the reason there was an agreement in Parliament to extend funding was because they were supposed to be grown as public institutions for the benefit of the country. Along the way, and on another show I told people, because I was in Chankwanza as a journalist when Museveni was making a speech and making a case for the return of political parties. And I have said it even here before. He gave 3 reasons: the younger people, the donors, and the multi-partists. Museveni never said parties should return because they are going to be of a benefit to the country, and is still stuck to that. So parties are not allowed to function. That's why I was telling OO and NRM people during the break that if you are in a functional multi-party and NRM was a political party, you would not have the leaders that you have in parliament if you are a political institution competing. The reason you have them is that you have a one-man show.
You mean our leaders in parliament are not, in government are not what?
Charles.
I mean, you can...
You can. Yes, you can. A little minute. You see, in Africa, every time somebody dies, there is a cause of their death. Either they were bewitched or something happened.
I'm not sure that's uniquely African. Or only that
that's what I know.
Africans think of themselves that it is only here that people identify problems with themselves.
If somebody dies, the neighbors have bewitched him. There is somebody who is the cause of their death. The Honorable Semuju has continuously made a point that the President Museveni is responsible for the challenges of the opposition.
That has been his stand at every time.
The question that has been raised to him is, actually, I like the answer I gave. Is it possible for FDC Katonga and FDC Najana Nkumbi to reconcile? He said no. So the question I raised to him is, so what next? If FDC Katonga and FDC Najana Nkumbi cannot have the opportunity to reconcile, what follows?
See, you are diverting me, because I said you need to look at this broadly. If you are looking at the FDC Katonga and FDC Najana Nkumbi, you're forgetting the conditions in the country, conditions that have made Museveni go and buy DP, conditions that have made Museveni go and buy UPC. That bad manners in politics is what we must address as a country, that you can't allow political parties to function.
In all fairness, yes. Would you say the conditions under which Museveni decided to go to the bush and his colleagues were any significantly different? And what opportunity do you have and what strength do you have as parties in the opposition to change the status quo?
Just some clarification. When the Honorable Semuju talks of buying, does he mean they were given some stacks of cash? I thought there's a cooperation. I'm
it's not cash, it's a position.
No, but if people come to work together,
you've asked the question.
Politics is about horse trading.
Yes.
So
you've asked the question. Do you want to answer it?
If FDC Katonga and NUP, so-called Buganda, want to work together, why shouldn't NRM also work with the ANT, work with the section of FDC, work with UPC, or work with the DP at...
Okay, let him answer.
You see, the point I was making before I was interrupted by my brother Abbas Agawa is the broader point for the country. The discussion in the CA and after, and the subsequent discussions in the country, were discussions about what we collectively need to do as a country. That's what Ghana has done, partly Kenya has. Along the way, that discussion is no longer taking place in Uganda. You have a military man who has suffocated everything. He will beat up political parties if you either compromise them. So until we've gone back, and this, even you are now asking me, in Malawi, in Zambia, when they are fighting Bakiri Muluzi there and Kiruba, it was a collective fight with the church, with the media.
Trade unions.
In Ghana, including universities. That's what I want to see happen in Uganda. This is not a sole responsibility of the opposition to change the conditions in Uganda. The journalists are being beaten not by the opposition. See what has happened to Makerere. You can't go and have a debate in Makerere except in either a room, or, but you've gone to Freedom Square for a rally. It can no longer happen. So these conditions, we need to confront them together with the media, with everybody, including some cool-headed in the NRM. Unfortunately, many of the NRM people have become fortune hunters, and that's where we have ended where we are now. The people who can speak to Museveni, the caliber of the Bidandi and the Kategaya and Mushega, have all gone. Now you have cheerleaders. They are the ones leading NRM. You see them in parliament and you shudder for this country. So we've lost a conversation as a country.
Are you actually leading, or they are only cheerleaders?
Please, Edgar. Please allow
so we've lost a conversation, and I get angry when people think this is my assignment. This is the assignment of the FDC and NUP and the Chagulanyan. It is our collective assignment to make things right.
Okay.
It's the reason.
Honorable Winnie.
It is partly the reason why iPod came here. People who started it said, please run from Ghana and do the things this way. That's how you'll have a country.
Honorable Winnie, for people who are actively involved in politics, number one, for those who identify in the opposition and those who have leadership positions in the opposition, how does this conversation be taken back internally to say, we have chosen a path, we know the context in which we're operating, and we know what we're confronting?
You know, Charles, the unfortunate bit is that many of the Ugandans who really want this to happen, the unity of the opposition to happen, may not necessarily be the ones that have the privilege of knowing your number and send messages. Ugandans out there do believe in the unity of the opposition, and for them, they have waited for it. I can speak as a person who is in the opposition, who meet them on a daily, who speak to them, and who has participated in an election as a member of the opposition. And also as a member who was held a flag of a united opposition under IPC. We kept hearing this voice.
And as a former leader of the opposition.
And as a former leader of the opposition in the parliament, I continuously heard this voice. So to those who believe that possibly the unity of the opposition brings nothing on the table, you don't know what it means to be united. I saw it when I was leading the opposition in parliament during the Tojikwatako. And I saw how united Ugandans were, to the extent that the regime had to take over parliament to fear a united opposition in parliament, including a united Uganda. So this unity is needed for us to pursue.
So what do you need to do as leaders?
And now that's what I was coming to. Yes. That for me this discussion is a very healthy one. That it is beginning even before we get into the real time of elections. It gives now the leaders an opportunity, this discussion, it gives the leaders in political parties an opportunity to begin now thinking, what do we do? Can we begin thinking about this issue so that by the time of election, even those who are supposed to participate in elections, the masses are already prepared. In Kenya, that we have all been talking about, it's about tribes. Someone will say, you go and talk to Edgar from the Kalenjin. All the Kalenjin will run around him. Yes, even when they are in political parties, for them they know that alliances work. We need to now borrow a leaf from our neighbors and say, how did you make it happen? How did you prepare your population to be ready for a shift when you get into an alliance? It is important that we study those circumstances that have brought our colleagues together, and they have fought together, they have united around an issue and have achieved what they want. So it gives us an opportunity as leaders, and I would like to speak to the opposition political leaders. This discussion, don't look at it as a NUP and Katonga affair. Yes, like Semuju has said, it is an affair for all Ugandans. Because when political parties are under pressure, it is the individuals within those political parties that are under pressure. When Museveni was killing people in 2020, it wasn't the political leaders.
He
was killing Ugandans.
Many things he wants to say.
It is an issue that affects all of us, and it speaks volumes about us in the political parties, tells us a lot, and we need to learn a lot from what happens in Kenya, what happened in Ghana, what happened in Malawi. We need to learn a leaf from them and begin putting our heads together to say, what haven't we done correct? And what must we do to get to where we want to be?
Well, I don't think what passes for opposition has what it takes to build a functional, effective, resilient, but also welcoming approach of a coalition to defeat the NRM, because the NRM is built on real substance that Ugandans want. You can dispute that. You may have issues. Two, for somebody to say that I know what Ugandans think because I once led opposition in the parliament. What do you think the president of Uganda, who consumes much of the information, actually know about what Ugandans want?
Because that's why he beats them up.
I think he enjoys.
That's why he rigs elections.
You made your point, and I listened to you. I listened to you in silence.
Because you know that you always rig elections.
So the president, I think, and I know by the structure of the country and the government, enjoys access to more information, and therefore I think he's the one who knows what the country wants. I want to go to what Honorable Semuju said. Honorable Semuju keeps making this point here about the constitution of Uganda and the consensus built or reached in 1995. Not everything was settled in the constitution-making process. That's why in that constitution there are three elements. One, provisions and how to amend the constitution. If it was settled, amendments wouldn't have been provided for. Two, even within amendments, a number of articles, provisions were entrenched and others were left open to be amended by simple majority, by two-thirds majority in Parliament. You can fault NRM in 2017, the things you keep citing, some people being overzealous and running over you in the Parliament, but also running over you because you made yourselves vulnerable. Why? You refused. You went out of the constitutional provision. You tried to attempt to block a formal debate in Parliament to amend the constitution. If you had not done so, most likely the elements you are now blaming for introducing violence or other extra means, perhaps they wouldn't have been attracted to take that route.
We're continuing this conversation on the Afro mobile app.
It was not settled. It was left for the future generation, and we are the future generation.
NBS Frontline. NBS. Always. Up next.